Hey, we are live, I do believe. Good evening, everybody. Let me know, by the way, if this sounds all right, if it looks all right, if you can see me. We're testing a new little setup tonight, hopefully, and my goal is with this that we can dive into a few more topics that we couldn't cover before, because previously, and let's see if this works, you could never see my feet with my wonderful little slippers tonight. So hopefully, you can hopefully see me. Instead of practicing the guitar and actually singing and doing all those things that I wanted to do, I've tried to work out how to improve these live streams and make them more useful for you. So I look forward to this. It's been a fun experiment for me, learning a bunch of little things and trying to get things rolling and, make them interesting. So hopefully this works and we can dive into a little bit more on the looping side of things. Hey, cool. I'm glad it works. This is excellent, because it would be awkward if you were all staring at a black screen. So we'll see how we go. I will try not to knock over this camera that's by my legs as we go as well. And yeah, get into, who knows, playing some tunes, maybe talking about the Voicelive 3 and looping. I did a little video, obviously, that came out last Thursday, on the basics of looping. And it's the basics of looping with the Voicelive 3, but it's also the basics of just looping, kind of getting to know the gear. So I think it's funny, I'm talking about getting to know the gear, and I've suddenly set myself up with a little camera switcher so I can actually show you a bunch of this stuff. And it feels very fresh, very new. Obviously, I did practice and experiment with it, and I'm very happy that it's working. So, yeah, let me know if there's anything specifically that you would like to chat about for this eve. As always, this Tuesday night, I kind of put aside some time, if you're new here, to answer questions. It could be anything from marketing to recording to life as a full-time musician, to what my favorite snacks are. Who knows? Whatever you want to know, I'll do my best to answer and have it be valuable for you. But it is kind of a chance, I guess. Thanks, James. It is, I guess, a chance just to be able to connect and actually kind of pick each other's brains and chat about a few topics, rather than everything being a secret and a mystery, I guess. So, which I feel like this happens a lot in the music world. I remember asking hey Marcus, I remember asking a friend of mine, or a guy I knew a while back. This is many years back, actually, and he'd played a show. I really got into his music. He's a really good guitarist, and I said, "Hey, in this specific track, what's your thumb doing? Is it just kind of keeping that bass going, or are you doing the kind of, And I just watched him live. I was like, "What are you doing?" And I remember very clearly he looked at me and goes, "Oh, my thumb just does what it does, man." That's kind of like, thanks, man. I became instantly less interested. But Marcus, I'm just streaming through YouTube. This just goes direct to YouTube. I haven't spent the time to learn OBS or any of that software, but I'll put a link after this is done. Actually, it was one of you guys that suggested this little Blackmagic Design switcher that I'm running. So thank you, Bob. I appreciate that. And I'm obviously glad that it's working. But yeah, if there's anything, I'm going to kind of, as seems to be happening the last little while, I'm going to kind of dive into something. And seeing as I did that video on the Voicelive 3, I thought I'd just talk about one of the good and bad things with the Voicelive 3 to kind of kick things off. And then if you have questions, if you have things you want to chat about or bring up, we'll dive into it. Just fire them in the chat, and we will look at it and get amongst it. But I also have done, as you've seen, a couple of the reaction videos, basically watching other loop artists, and sometimes I'm going to know exactly what's happening by watching. Sometimes I can't see. Sometimes it's going to take a while to like figure out what's on what track, what are they bringing in and out. And there's another one of those that's going to come out tomorrow, which I think is really cool. It's one of your requests. It's I will keep some suspense, but it's a guy using an RC300, and the way he brings things in and out is really, really cool. I really enjoyed kind of watching that and digging into some of what he does and how he does it. But one of the things, good morning, team. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that you enjoyed it. And Florian, how's it going? One of the things that is good on the RC300, which I'm not using, is that you're able to program how long things loop for, how many, track 2 is twice the length of track 1 and track 3 is 4 times, or that sort of thing. And it actually takes a little bit of the hassle out of mentally stressing about with the Voicelive 3 whether this smart looping will sync up, because every now and then it just doesn't. It's at the end of the day, it's my fault. I'm not specifically on time, but it would be nice knowing that even if I'm slightly out, it's going to kind of save me, right? So I wanted to talk about 2 ways that you can loop maybe something longer with the Voicelive 3, and it's the good and bad points of basically loop build and timing. So there's, I don't know the words, and it's on my list to actually learn these, but I thought it'd be a fun song is to do the oh my God, I see the way you shine. Take my hand, my dear, and place them both in mine. Dance monkey. See, I remember some things every now and then. But if we do this and flick over to this mighty Voicelive 3, it looks like I will need to adjust this in future, so maybe you can see the screen as well, which is always a little bit of a challenge, just in terms of getting it to show up compared to the rest of the unit. But for today, you will at least see when I'm recording, when I stomp on things. So there's 2 options with the Voicelive 3. And again, if you've just joined, feel free to fire questions into the chat, that sort of thing. But if we want to get things rolling pretty quickly with a longer build like this 4 chords, what we can do is just put and I better make sure there's some audio happening for this, because otherwise I won't hear it either. Dun, dun, dun. There we go. Looks like we got something. So we can add just 4 to the floor. And that is track A. Now with track B, the Voicelive 3 is doing its best to work out how many combinations of this I want. And we'll see if it works, because this is just like this is a little experiment. This is a song that's on my list to learn. So there's our 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, I'm going to undo that. I'm too busy talking. Let's try it again. This is a slow version. Okay, this is good for demonstrating. I'm not locked in time. So what's happened is we've got that first bar, second bar, third bar, and then that fourth bar, I wasn't in time. So this is the good and bad side of the Voicelive 3. And I did this a lot at the start. Oh yeah, 10 points for the slippers. Yeah. This is, So this is again, actually getting into the 4. Okay, this time it's got 4 bars, which is great. So theoretically, that's pretty rough. Theoretically, this is going to be the quickest way to start recording with the Voicelive 3 is just do 1 bar and then do the longer section just for time. But if you have the Voicelive 3, you can see that can become a problem. However, if you have the RC30, you either have the choice of, or a pedal that you have 2 tracks, but you have to keep the length of them the same, right? So with the RC30, we can have track 1 and track 2, but we have to build the whole thing anyway. So it's probably better to start out with a loop, playing the chords, because your audience probably doesn't want to hear, and I'm using the simplest groove, we'll call it a groove, 4 to the floor, but your audience probably doesn't want to hear as your first loop. Maybe they don't care. Who knows? Nice. Yeah, there we go. Representing the Jammans. I don't talk about them much, but Digitech was actually my first loop pedal. It was a little Digitech stereo. So let's go the other way, and we're going to record the chords first. And the good and bad side of doing this is, of course, that over 4 bars, you're going to hope that you don't do this, which is what I typically used to do. And yes, I'm human. Sometimes I still do it over a long period of time, is increase the tempo and go from, and then speed up. And then when it comes around again, it's not so flash. So let's kick back into the Voicelive 3. Okay, so the good side there, that's going to be my loop, and I'm just going to overdub over it. There's no way this can get out of time because it's on the same loop, so it's just if my timing's bad. Okay, which it was on that first kick. But then we're kind of in. This is the safe option, and we can build this all on 1 loop. It's now just about timing. So, bass sound, a bit of overdub. Okay, it's a lot harder for this to go to time because we're all on 1 track. There's no kind of, I guess, challenges with it. The good side is now if I record on track B, because I have those 4 bars, the full 4 bars, then it means that track B is naturally, it's going to go, oh, you've done 4 bars as well. That's what you're trying to do. It knows what I'm trying to do. There's less chance for a live error or a live mistake. And sometimes you definitely got to take the risk and do the undo thing on occasion when it happens. I typically find that I haven't done this tonight at all, but I typically find that I kind of want to get into the groove a little bit I sing a little bit to myself if I'm starting straight into a loop, just so that there's not that natural desire to be like, oh man, I started this slow and I want to speed up. But because I have a loop, I need to keep it slow. So I just kind of wanted to put that back in there, some kind of little thoughts about the Voicelive 3, and it's this balance between doing things quickly and then having like a safety net, which the safety net is your undo to just redo it again. And as I say, I do that a lot less now, but I did do it a lot at the start because my timing wasn't great. All right. Hey, Dubai. All right. I've been busy. Now my camera's in a different place, so I haven't been looking at chat. But let me know if that's useful. I don't know how many of you are on tonight that actually use Voicelive 3. But I think, Florian, it might have been us that we were chatting about how valuable the undo is. And it really is. It can be a really good tool for building up your loops and taking things out from them as well. But it can also be a very handy tool when something does go wrong and you just need to really quickly clear a mistake or some issue. So, yeah, bit of fun. But fire into the chat what's happening for you at the moment. I'd love to hear where you're at. If people are out, obviously performing in general is happening again, which is great. I'm actually down in Christchurch still with family, hanging out, which is super, super nice. It really is, and taking a bit of a break from the standard little Auckland scene. But yeah, back up playing there at the start of August and getting back into things then, which is cool. I'm looking forward to that as well. So in the meantime, I've been making a bunch of videos and figuring out some gear to try and do this and make it more useful to you. So Paul, yeah, the Voicelive does automatically sync up loops. It has a smart mode, which I have it set to, and it's not perfect. And the good and the bad side is what happened at the start there. If I record, we'll do the same kind of thing again, but 1, 2, 3, 4. That's one bar. It will now try and sync whatever I do on track B either to the same amount, 1 bar, or to 2 bars, 3 bars, 4 bars, that sort of thing. It won't do in the smart mode. It won't do like 1.5 and then, start again. So let's see if I can just do it awkwardly for you. But 3, 4. And if I hit it there, you'll notice it thinks I've been trying to do 2 lots of that. So even though I hit it early, it's gone. Okay, you've already obviously played something, and maybe it hasn't worked out as well as you thought. But yeah, it basically has a little sync up feature. The downside is when you're a little bit late, or kind of depending on the rhythm and what you're playing, because every now and then it cuts off a whole bar, and so which is really not appreciated. But as I say, it is a little bit when it comes down to it, it's typically my fault that I'm not locked into the timing. I'm not right on it. But yeah, overall it's nice, and it's part of the reason I'm talking about this tonight. I know a bunch of you that are on this channel have Voicelive 3 or the Voicelive 3 Extreme, so you've probably encountered the same thing from time to time. But also, after watching Elise Trowell, I'm nodding at the screen. Nice, thanks. That's it. If you're nodding at the screen, put some sort of like face emoji in the chat, or if you're just staring angrily at your Voicelive 3, being like, why do you sometimes cut off a bar of my music? Then I don't know, put something red in the chat. And if you've never ever stuffed up a live loop, then please put a unicorn in the chat. So, Marcus, any possibility to put the set and play and set and overdub in different places? Not that I'm aware of. This, as far as I'm aware, there's not a button map option for the looper screen. I don't know where it would be stored, because to access the button mapping for the vocal and guitar layers, then it changes. You go into the actual vocal section here and scroll across to, you're not going to be able to see what that is, but technically that's now on button mapping. But in the looper section, you don't have that option to button map everything. The one option you do have, if you wish, is using the switch 3 pedal or the switch 6 pedal. And then in that case, yes, we have a unicorn. All right. Love it. Thanks, Matt. Never looped live yet. You have a looper though, from memory. I'm sure. But in terms of mapping those, Marcus, then you'd have to do something with the switch 6. I was going to say RC300. It's not, but with the switch 6, in terms of where you place them. Again, totally doable, but not specifically on the unit. So nice. I just love that we got a unicorn in the chat. I didn't expect that, but obviously I hadn't thought that you'd never looped live. So, it's all a good good process and experiment. That's cool. Hey Dave, welcome to the live stream. Thanks. So much love on the slippers tonight. It's cold. I feel I am acclimatizing. I'm not sure if we look back through these lives when I think this is the third one, because I came down on a Tuesday. I'm not sure if I'm wearing a hat and like fully rugged up in the first one, but I think I'm adjusting. So yeah. Sweet. So right. Yeah, that would be cool, Dave. I think on the likes of the RC300, where you can maybe plan like the length of loops, have different slots essentially set to different combinations, then you really can. It is an option. And yeah, I keep doing this little dance with being like, will I get an RC300? Watch this space. There is, and again, you'll see tomorrow, there's another little reaction video where I watch a guy he's great, and the way he brings in and out and builds different parts on 3 different tracks with the RC300 is very cool. There's some sneaky little things that he does that I like. You'll see them tomorrow, but it is a really cool pedal, just having that extra track that can still be played together. You can have all 3 at once, whereas the Voicelive 3, you've kind of got 2 tracks that can happen at once, and then 1 track that can switch between 2 different things. So it does work really nicely for verse chorus type things. If you're building them up, you can keep a rhythm going, and that rhythm can stay underneath it, and you can go from a verse to a chorus, that sort of thing. So every different pedal is a little bit different, has its advantages and disadvantages. Maybe I should get the Switch. Can you map everything? Yeah. So Marcus, with the Switch 6, just getting into it, you can pretty much, I'm pretty sure now with the last update, which is a good while ago, you can map anything to the Switch 6. So it means on the vocal layer and the guitar layer, you can map anything kind of through there, which is great. On the looper layer, you don't have the option to move things around. But if you want to readjust where your looping is, then you can do it from the Switch 6. I'm trying to think if there were particular limitations to that, but to be fair, let's just go into it because mine is still set up for will you appear? Set up. All right, foot switch. Let's just go through because I might as well answer it for you now. Into the looper functions. Your options are you can map all the loop triggers, the metronome on or off, erase all, which is one of the ones that I have set up, which is handy. Loop undo, stop/erase, and play and record. So from memory, the one thing I don't think you can then loop input, the looper screen. So the one thing I don't think you can access is track B from that switch pedal. I'm pretty sure because I did a similar thing to you, I think, seeing like, okay, can I just put everything onto there? I think for track B, you're still restricted. I don't have my switch pedal down here with me, so I'm going to say I'm 99.9% sure that's the case from having used it before. I found it, I do remember using it and recording, for example, my groove onto there just to get things rolling quickly rather than changing screens and holding things down. But you're probably still going to have to go to the looper screen at some point, depending on what you're looping. But if you put everything on one track, then you're pretty good, but you'll lose some of the nice features that the looper has, I guess. So, yeah. that was me on a call the other night. I was on a Zoom call and I had my beanie on and these on, and these are really nice and warm, by the way. If they're really nice headphones, but I feel like they could definitely be sold as well, just as really nice ear warmers. They work amazingly. Cool. Nice. Marcus, yes, you are correct. You will know what I'm talking about. Other people may or may not. You'll see tomorrow. But nice. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. Thanks, Riffington. So much of doing these videos, I really am motivated by getting your comments, and I really appreciate that you guys find it valuable. I try to do my best to kind of like share everything that is there. Like if I can answer your question and help you out with something, I'll do my best to do that, rather than the kind of like, how do you do that? Oh, just practice. Which seems to happen quite a bit. So, Sandy, no, I don't pre-record songs with sets of loops and then play live on top of them. One of the things I do if I'm doing a relaxed kind of looping gig, then I don't take any external other pedals. It's really my guitar, microphone, and loop pedal. And then when I'm doing something that it's going to be much more dance oriented, I don't know what the right term is for that. when it's going to be much more of a party zone. Let's go with that. I either run my phone into the auxiliary input of the Voicelive 3, and I run iMachine. So it means I can put in actual sampled drums, clicks, various things like that, which just make the track much more punchy. And you notice the difference people get on the dance floor and get involved in it. Versus if I'm doing like a laid back Sunday afternoon, I often don't take that and still use the MPX8 as well as the other option of gear. That I'll put some links, seeing as we talk about it after this video kind of gets processed and put up live. I'll put them in the comments, but you'll see them on some of my other videos, what I'm using and that sort of thing as well. So, but I'll put them in the description in case you've just tuned in and this is the first thing you see, then you can at least see what I'm running gear wise. So change the shot. I love looking at you. What you want to look at this shot or this shot? Ta-da! Oh, it's gone. It's a trick. It's a trick shot. We're back. So, yeah. For those of you that don't know, this is a new experiment with gear, and fortunately, it appears to be working. I'm live. We have some different shots. So, yeah. But Sandy, in terms of that, I don't pre-record anything. I've done it once for a wedding where I recorded just prior to performing just a really nice groove that was going to go under it for a bar, just so it was really locked in and really nice and tight. And that was still on the guitar. As I say, I just did it just before playing that song. But again, like every now and then there can be some little issues. I just wanted to make sure for that it was really locked in on the groove and really nice. And then I basically hit play and used that as a backing track, and then recorded another loop over top of it. So that's the only time. Yeah, Sandy, you are correct. I am using the little ATEM Mini from Blackmagic Design to switch between some cameras. Fortunately, this camera won't turn off, but this one decides it's had enough after a while, so I have to remember that for future. Cool. Let's just let me catch up on some of these. Do you loop sometimes everything on track B to keep the groove easy, or do you separate into rhythm and guitars? Yeah, Dave, I do. There's a lot of times I really do just build on one track for some things. It just keeps it locked in, keeps it really nice and easy. I am finding more and more I'll keep track A. And for some of you that saw that last video on the Voicelive 3, let's just put something in. At which point I should probably do this and try and, Hey, this is good. This is obviously the night for it that I have known. That my loops are out of time. Okay, so if I build something up on track B from here, and hopefully you can just see this, if my sweet little slippers are going down here, that's track A. If I'm going up here, then it's track B. So let's just put a little bass line. And let's say I build this track up. I'm singing a song, keeping it nice and simple. If I was going to keep this for the next song, I would typically build up the, I'm just going to overdub on track A. I would build up that rhythm a little more. So 2 little overdubs on that. just nothing crazy, but it makes it a little bit fuller. And let's say I can just hold down track B to remove it, then start recording, and I've got that same groove underneath it, so I can build up. I can build up the next little track, and it saves everything from stopping completely in between songs, and it means that just get rid of those. It means that basically when I'm doing something where everyone's dancing and getting involved a lot more, it means that there's not, every time I start a new song, there's not this like loop build. So it's a case of figuring out maybe what grooves might fit under a couple or a few of your different tracks, so that you can build a show around being like, okay, we're going into the like epic 4 to the floor medley. and so long as everyone's on the dance floor and having a good time, right? Like, great, let's keep it going. Let's add another song in and keep that groove. When you want to change the energy in the room, when you want to mix up the dynamic, then it's like, oh, okay, time to change. So Dave, I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah, essentially I kind of do both. Maybe I will record everything on one track a lot of times and just overdub. It's just for breaks, I'll use a stop for either one beat, like beat 3. Well, it wasn't beat 3, but but something like that, where you like stop the loops. It leaves this little bit of space back in on the chorus or the verse or the next bar, and then other times I'll break down, I'll stop the loop, and I'll just play live and sing. So there's a dynamic back in the loop. So yeah, I hope that one track's a sin. Yeah, well, there you go. Putting everything on one track. But thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm super happy that this little combo worked for this video. It took a bit of playing around, but hopefully it means we can dive into a few more bits and pieces, and live you can kind of see what's happening. And maybe next week we'll dive into building a few more tracks and actually doing it a little bit more like a gig or something like that. Who knows? But it really is kind of up to you guys. Hey, Michael, thanks for tuning in. I'm just signing out and just saying au revoir. And I think if I'm lucky, I'm going to go and have some dinner. And yeah, but thanks everyone for being here. I really appreciate it. And I wish you all some creative experimenting and looping. At the end of the day, I really do think a lot of this stuff comes down to taking a new idea, taking something, running with it, experimenting. If you're like me, mucking it up a bunch of times or thinking, oh, that didn't work quite like I hoped it would, any and all of those sorts of things. So yeah, I really hope there's some new ideas, or that maybe it's just like we hang out and you're like, yeah, cool, actually I will go and pick up the guitar again and practice and play. So appreciate you being here. Have an amazing evening, morning, night, or wherever you are in the world, and we'll catch you again sometime soon. See you later, team.